What's the most awkward situation you've ever been in? My ex-wife later came out as a lesbian, and we divorced. Years later, I went to her wedding, where she married her now wife, which was one of my ex-girlfriends. I was looking at my mom's phone cause she wanted to show me some pictures from what she did that weekend. I swiped one too many times, and came across one of her nudes. I felt my soul jolt out of my body seeing that shit. My 79-year-old mother-in-law with Alzheimer's telling us that she had had sex the previous night with another resident of her nursing home. She had been celibate for 20 years up until then. We think. So are you two dating? He said yes at the same time I said no, to which his friend told him I told you didn't ask clearly enough. Edit I accidentally mixed up him saying yes and me saying no. My best friend waiting to tell her parents that she's gay until when I was over for dinner. I was a teenager with a boner, pretty standard so far. I walked downstairs and had to tuck it in my pajamas so the head is sticking straight up and the erection is pinned against the body so the boner isn't noticeable. Well, when I put my t-shirt on it fell behind the tip, so if you looked at my wasit line you could clearly see the tip of my penis. I was talking to my mom for a few minutes, and she was flushed red in the face and quickly trying to kill conversation, not something my mom is known for. I walked away, saw what was going on, and didn't know what the hell to do. We never discussed it, but because things were so awkward at dinner, I'm pretty sure my mom knew that I realized it happened as well. Was unexpectedly in the car ride with my boyfriend's parents on their way to sign their divorce papers. When I was a kid I hugged a random dude because I thought it was my dad. Even better how this dude's son was standing next to him. When I was a kid my family's van broke down, so we all had to squeeze into my dad's car to go to a funeral. Anyways, my older sister had to sit on my lap. Yep, you guessed it. I got a boner and she freaked out and started screaming. I was riding in the passenger seat with my mom, who has always been strict and very tight-knit several years ago, when for some reason she decided to completely open up to me about all of her drug experimentation and sexual exploits in the 60s, and the time she did cocaine with Steve Jobs at a fancy restaurant in the 80s. It was a very uncomfortable eye-opener, and I was trapped listening to it. I was in the car with my girlfriend's best friend's moms and her other daughter. We made talk in the car and I just ended up asking what their favorite color was. They then told me the other daughter was actually blind. I had barely known these people and was in the car for another 20 minutes, most awkward 20 of my life. I walked in on my roommate in senior year of college cap-owing his girlfriend. We had a rule about a hat on the door if we wanted privacy. There was no hat when I came back one morning and I got a full eye level side view of him and her mid thrust because he had the top bunk. They kind of laughed it off, but was pretty awkward for me. I was sitting in class and the kid next to me farted and I said God bless you as if it were a sneeze. A gentleman was outside the hotel smoking in his holy it's wordplay, jogging pants. I really wanted to tell him his balls were showing, but I couldn't summon the courage to do it. He wanted to chat about Magic the Gathering. Shit myself at a Super Bowl party while throwing a football around. Then my mom walked in on me while I was cleaning myself up, so yeah. Okay, so me and some friends were at a restaurant and a buddy of mine was telling us about this new girl he just started going out with a few days back. Well, another friend started telling us about this girl that he cap-out the previous night. The conversation went on for a minute and finally somebody asked for the name of the girl that he had cap-out, and it turns out it was a girl that the other friend had started dating a few days earlier. Q narrowly avoided fight as we convinced him it's better to find out she's shitty now rather than later. The two guys still no longer speak though. When I was 13 or 14 the guy I had a crush on took me to a park to talk and learn to know each other. We sat under some trees and everything was going pretty well until guess a bird shat on my head while I was talking to him. I had to go back home to wash my hair a few times. Back when I was in college I got friendly with a girl in my sociology class. She brought a picture of her boyfriend in once to show me what he looked like. This was before Facebook was massively popular. I asked her who the guy next to him in the photo was. She replied, "That's me." Mortified. This was several years ago. I was over at my boyfriend's parents' house for his dad's birthday. I'm fairly awkward and my boyfriend likes to joke, so he walks up to his dad and tells him I have a present for him. His dad turns to me and says, "Well, great. Let's see it." I did not have a present for him. I still cringe thinking about having to tell him I didn't actually have a gift for him. My mom and I were in the car and the vehicle in front of us had a fake taxi sticker on it, and my mom asked me what a fake taxi was. Not me, but a classmate of mine in the 7th grade was talking to the most attractive girl in our class on a little break. Our teacher out of nowhere calls him over to his desk. He hesitates for a second and walks over, pitching a tent in his pants. I'll never forget it, haha.